It's 1984 and David Jones, Russell Kay, Steve Hammond and Mike Daly are meeting regularly at the Kingsway Amateur Computer Club in Dundee, Scotland. They all developed many games while attending, mainly for consoles that consisted of the ZX Spectrum or Commodore 64. When attending the Dundee Institute of Technology slightly later on, Jones began development on a game titled CopperCon 1, working under the temporary name Acme Software. Jones approached Hewson Consultants to publish the game, but they wanted the game to be the Amiga version of Synapse, and this made Jones realise that sales would be limited and so refused to sign the contract, later signing a deal with publisher Psygnosis. The game was renamed Draconia. 3 years later, by the time it was 1987, Jones wanted to incorporate the company, but had discovered that the name Acme was already taken by a design company. This led to him ultimately changing the name to DMA Design, despite considering other names such as Visual Voyage and Elias Smith & Jones. DMA Design was formally founded by Jones that same year. Draconia was renamed Menace and published in 1988 for Amiga and later to the Atari ST, Commodore 64 and MS-DOS. It sold 20,000 copies, allegedly bringing in £20,000. The next game that was developed was called Blood Money, which was a side-scrolling shooter and released for Amiga and Atari ST in 1989. 1989 was a big year for DMA Design, as they also hired their first employee, Mike Daly. A new game began development too, called Gore. However, this was soon scrapped as quickly as it was started. In 1990, Jones hired Tony Colgan to develop Cutie Poo and assist with Gore before its cancellation. By the end of the year, Jones had fired Colgan as he was irritated with the lack of progress and ended up cancelling Cutie Poo as a result. DMA's first major breakthrough came with the year 1991, a game called Lemmings. This was a dynamic puzzle game, originally released for Amiga in February of 1991. The game ultimately sold over 15 million copies and received numerous ports to different consoles. The game led to numerous sequels by DMA, some of these being Oh No More Lemmings in 1991, Lemmings 2 The Tribes in 1993, and All New World of Lemmings in 1994, as well as 2 Christmas games. Revenues from the success of Lemmings allowed the company to expand, adding their own motion capture studio and a division called DMA Music, consisting of the team's in-house musicians. After Sony acquired Psygnosis in 1993, DMA signed with Nintendo to publish Unirally in 1994. They spent 6 months studying development for the 3DO interactive multiplayer, but they cancelled all their plans for the console when the success of Unirally led Nintendo to publish an original DMA game for the upcoming Nintendo 64. DMA created a game called Body Harvest, but this received numerous delays from Nintendo as they had issues with some of the content. This eventually led to the game being scrapped, later being published by Midway Games and Gremlin Interactive in 1998. However, now is where the story starts ramping up and is no longer the success story of a small startup. In April 1995, DMA Design began developing a new game, Race and Chase. At first, the development team found this to be a challenging task due to their team of mostly inexperienced members. This changed once producer and creative director Gary Penn joined the project. Originally scheduled for release in late 1996, the game was ultimately released as Grand Theft Auto in November 1997 for Windows, following many development issues. The game was a critical and commercial success and ultimately spawned a successful series. Following the release of what was to become the first of many installments in an ultra-successful series, DMA was bought by British publisher Gremlin Interactive for £4.2 million in 1997. Gremlin was then acquired by French company Infogrames for £24 million or $40 million only 2 years later in 1999. Game development at DMA Design involved taking risks and being unique as they believed they could monitor market reactions to make better games and also earn respect from players by being willing to challenge the status quo. BMG Interactive, publisher of Grand Theft Auto, were bought by Take-Two Interactive in March 1998 for 1.8 million company shares, around 16% of their common stock, and some staff, including Sam and Dan Houser, were carried across to Rockstar Games, which was formed as a subsidiary of Take-Two Interactive in December 1998. During the changes in management, DMA Design lost many employees, including Kay, Hammond and Daly. On 29th of September 1999, Take-Two announced that they had acquired DMA Design from Infogrames for $11 million. Following the acquisition, it was announced that DMA would continue developing Grand Theft Auto games including GTA 3D and Grand Theft Auto Online Crime World. The company received various staffing changes following the acquisition. Jones left the company and founded Real Time Worlds, while DMA Design was headed by Leslie Benzies and Andrew Semple, among others. The studio had about 25 employees at the time of the changeover. Under new management from Rockstar Games and Take-Two Interactive, DMA Design developed Grand Theft Auto 3, which was released for PlayStation 2 in October 2001. In March 2002, DMA Design became Rockstar Studios, being integrated into Rockstar Games and renamed to Rockstar North in May 2002. Grand Theft Auto Vice City was released in October 2002 for PlayStation 2 after 9 months of development. In 2003, the company released a PC port of Vice City. The developer's next release, also for PlayStation 2, was Manhunt in November 2003. The game was released amidst a media frenzy surrounding some of the game's violent content. Grand Theft Auto San Andreas followed for PlayStation 2 in October 2004 and became the highest selling PlayStation 2 game ever, with 17.33 million copies sold. It went on to sell 27.5 million copies total after ports to Xbox and PC were released in 2005. Following in 2005 and 2006 respectively, Liberty City Stories and Vice City Stories were 2 new installments for PlayStation, both developed by Rockstar Leeds under supervision from Rockstar North. Both games subsequently received ports to the PlayStation 2. Grand Theft Auto 4 was released on the 29th of April 2008 after around 4 years of development for both the Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3, marking the debut of the developer's widely popular Grand Theft Auto franchise on the 7th generation of video game consoles. GTA 4 was another huge financial and critical success, breaking sales records amongst all types of entertainment media. Rockstar North continued work on GTA 4 in the form of 2 pieces of downloadable episodic content. The first of these, The Lost and Damned, was released on the 17th of February 2009, with the second, The Ballad of Gay Tony, released on the 29th of October 2009. Rockstar Games later released a disc-based version of both episodes, Grand Theft Auto Episodes from Liberty City, for Windows, PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360.
Why did I move here? I guess it was the weather. Or
On 17th of September 2013, the studio released Grand Theft Auto 5 on the Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3, which became one of the most critically acclaimed games ever. The game, as we all know too well now, was a return to the fictional city of Los Santos, last seen in Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. It quickly became the studio's most commercially successful release, as well as one of the highest grossing games of all time, surpassing the total gross of Grand Theft Auto 4 within its first week, and breaking the one-day gross record for video games. Along with the release of Grand Theft Auto 5, Rockstar had been developing the new mega successful GTA Online, although at the start it had many issues, such as the inability to play missions and loss of character data. GTA Online has consistently received updates and been an ever-evolving world since its release, which has ultimately led to its undying success. The last update is due to come out in a few days as I'm writing this script, and would have been released by the time this video is released, marking the end of a 10-year juggernaut. The next big release for Rockstar was Red Dead Redemption 2, which was a prequel to the first game. The game's development took over 8 years, beginning soon after the release of the first game. It became one of the most expensive games ever made, although I'm sure this will be overshadowed by the reported cost of Grand Theft Auto 6. Red Dead Redemption 2 was released for the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One in October 2018, and for Windows and Stadia in November 2019. It broke several records and had the second biggest launch in the history of entertainment, only behind GTA 5. It generated $725 million in sales from its opening weekend, and exceeded the lifetime sales of Red Dead Redemption 2 in 2 weeks. The game received critical acclaim, with praise directed at its story, characters, open world, graphics, music and level of detail. Some criticism was directed at its control scheme and emphasis on realism over player freedom. It won year-end accolades including Game of the Year awards from several publications, and is considered an example of video games as an art form, as well as one of 8th generation console gaming's most significant titles, and amongst the greatest video games ever made. Following on from Red Dead 2, following years of speculation and anticipation, Rockstar confirmed in February 2022 that GTA 6 was in development. That September, footage from unfinished versions was leaked online in what journalists described as one of the biggest leaks in the history of the video game industry. The game was formally revealed in December 2023 and is scheduled to be released in 2025 for the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X and S. With the success of Rockstar titles at their time of release and the undeniable success of Grand Theft Auto 5 and Red Dead Redemption 2, if everything goes to plan, we can only imagine how incredible Grand Theft Auto 6 is going to be and how many records it will break, possibly even quicker than the time it took GTA 5 and Red Dead 2 to break the same records. Until then, I'm BlankVoidz, and this has been a brief history of Rockstar Games.